Okay, so I wanted to talk about like some story time stuff, and I wanted to do like paranormal things. Like I can talk about like other stuff. I've had so much shit happen to me in my life and like shit that I'm still dealing with that I'm like, fuck it, I'll just talk about anything. But the paranormal or ghosts and that sort of stuff, that's probably one of the big things. A lot of people out there say, oh, ghosts aren't real and it's like all that kind of stuff. I think that's just people who haven't experienced anything themselves, so they just automatically go, well, they're either a skeptic or like parapsychologists or, that sort of crazy shit. But I have had so many experiences. Some have been scary as hell, like frightening, and some have been like fine, like I can just deal with it, it's absolutely fine. I think the first ever like paranormal or spiritual sort of thing that ever happened to me, I was like 7 years old. I used to live on the Sunshine Coast. This was so long ago. I used to live on the Sunshine Coast in a little suburb called Budrum. And I have two older sisters, so it was like really, really late at night. I think it was like midnight or something. And my mum and dad, they were still awake, but they were in their bedroom, which was like right up the other end of the house. We were being kids. We're all 3 years apart, so we were just like, let's go out to the kitchen. I think we were going to get like food or something, and we were like, let's sneak out, because obviously didn't want our parents to hear us. And we were like sneaking out, because I shared a room with not my eldest sister, but my other sister, who's the middle one. And we all snuck out from there, and we were going down the hallway, and we all stopped, and we were like, what the hell is that? You could see down to like the dining and like the second sort of lounge room that we had. There was this like glowing white light. Like all three of us still swear to this day that we all saw it at the exact same time. This like glowing white light underneath the dining table, and it was huge, like almost half the size of the dining space underneath the dining table. And it was just there, and we were stunned, and it scared the hell out of us. So we all ran back to mine and my sister's room. Yeah, that was probably like the first ever sort of spiritual thing, because like what can cause a massive white light underneath a table? Everything is closed, it's like midnight, and there's no one down there. Like, so that was the first thing. I didn't have many things happen for a few years. Like we moved and then moved again, and I would say the one place that I had most of the things happen would be living at North Lakes, which is like, it's like half an hour north of Brisbane. It's only like 20 minutes south from where I live now. I think we lived at North Lakes for like 11 years, so it was like a really long time we spent in the one house. There were things happening like all the time, especially like way later, so like up until like the last 2 to 3 years that we lived there. It was just constantly stuff happening. My whole family, we are believers. We've had so many experiences and continue to have experiences to this day. I don't think it started up for me until I was about 12 or 13, and I started like obviously seeing things and hearing things, and things would move around. And obviously I had some like older family members that had passed away, and then we had like weird things happening. I know with my great grandmother, when she passed away, my mother got all of her trophies and that, and she had them up on this big cabinet near the front door, and one of them kept always being turned around the other way, and we'd all be like, I didn't touch that. So it would always be moving, and the light in my parents' bathroom would like flicker all the time. And then obviously other family members passing away, and we had things sort of happen. And then I got to about like 16 and 17, and things really like ramped up for me. I don't know whether it's sort of like I have like a sort of weird connection sort of thing. I'm not like medium or a psychic. I just have this weird thing, like I see so many things. It's almost like I'm tuned into something and I just experience stuff. We'd always hear like people walking down, because in my old house we had linoleum floors, and like it was, when you walk you can hear it because your feet would stick to it, and like you can hear people. It's like dead of night, everyone is asleep, and you can hear people walking down the end of the hallway. Like they would come from the start of the hallway, they'd walk in and around past the bedrooms, and then into the toilet. Of all places, the toilet. And then like people, like I think one of my sister's partners actually saw like a little girl like twice, and over the space of like, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. like, I think she like popped her head around the corner or something. Weird things happening. But we'd always hear things. I would hear like whispering all the time, or people playing with my cupboard doors. I just say people, I'm guessing that's what it is. But yeah, like really strange things. And like, I had been a believer since I was 7. Like, I'd always stuck with that memory that I saw that, I experienced that. So I just kind of was like, yeah, I know it's spirits. For me, it's just like, it's spirits. I don't always, like, if I experience something, I will have a rational mind first. I'm like, okay, is it just something else? But if I go, no, well then it's spirits. Like, what the hell is it? I've even had experiences being out late at night with friends. Like, I would see shit and they're like, I didn't see anything. And I'm like, I just saw something. There was something behind a tree, or there was a dark shadow that moved across the road when there's nothing else there. So many different things as I grew up. But the scariest thing that ever happened to me, and to be honest, I would never wish it upon anyone else, just to see what I saw. People can call me a liar for all they want. I really don't care. I know what I saw, and I know that it scared the life out of me. I think it was in the same house, that my previous house, and it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I was going out the back. Everyone was asleep, all the lights were off. I'd lived in that house for like 11 years, so I would walk through it in pitch black and not run into anything. So I would just like go from my room, and I was going out the back for a cigarette. I never turned any lights on or whatever, but I had the back patio light on, obviously, because I wanted to see. I finished my cigarette, and I go inside, and as I close the screen door, and then I'm going to close the glass door, and I see this thing right in front of the fence. It was like quite a bit away from where I was standing. This thing on all fours, the only way I can describe it, it looked like a person, but like skeleton sort of looking. Like, it wasn't actual just like bones, but like really skeletal, and on all fours, running from one side over to the other. I'm not really into the whole demons and angels sort of thing. Spirits, that's one thing, but you're stretching it pretty far when you say demons and stuff like that. But I'm like, I have no idea what I just saw. It was that moment where you get that much fear and dread that your heart sinks into your stomach. Everything, it's like you've fallen on a roller coaster. Like, you've gone from up here and just fell straight away. And it's such a feeling of dread. I actually, when I closed everything and went back to my room, I cried. It was the most scariest thing I have ever seen or experienced. Like, and I've fallen through school roofs. I've almost gotten trapped in like drains. Like, I have a lot of things that I could talk about and that I've experienced, but seeing that, I still to this day can't explain what it is that I saw. I don't know whether if it was a creature or it was a ghost or a demon or something, but I'm like, I know I saw it and that it scared the hell out of me. I've had a lot of like paranormal experiences out there, and I really like watching like shows like Most Haunted or Ghost Adventures or Paranormal Lockdown, that sort of stuff, or even like horror movies. Like, I love horror movies. But when you watch shows where people are going out and investigating, and it's really, really sad when they get really great evidence and people turn around and go, oh, it's fake. Yeah, I feel really, really sorry for people who think that ghosts aren't real, because, like, you think about space. Like, I know we're getting off a little bit off topic, but you think about space. We will never understand it. There's so many things we don't understand on our own planet that why the hell would we know anything about space? So how can you say that, like, ghosts, people who die, their souls or whatever it is remains until they pass on to somewhere else? Like, you think about the theories, Mandela effect, like dimensions, like space and time travel and all that sort of stuff. Like, you can't say that it doesn't exist if we don't know. But then people also turn around and say, well, you can't also prove it. And I'm like, well, there's so many things captured, like obviously stuff that is true and has been captured and not like CGI shit, like, which is pretty much everything on YouTube. But yeah, if you're watching this video, you watched it, and you have any like ghost stories or personal things that have happened to you or something that you could never explain, even if it was just like something weird. If you have anything, comment it below. I really would be interested in reading it. I love all things creepy. Like, I love getting scared. Paranormal is just, it's so fascinating. And that's what I don't get when people have no interest in it at all. I'm like, it's so fascinating. You could sit there for hours and watch stuff or read about stuff. Like, people's personal experiences, I like thrive off that because I've got so many of my own. Like, I remember one time I was out with friends and I think we were doing like an all-nighter, so we obviously lied to our parents and said we were staying over someone's house, and we weren't. We were drinking alcohol and smoking and just walking around at night. We were all up near the shopping centre at Westfield in North Lakes, and we kept seeing all of us. There was like 5 of us. We kept seeing like people following us in shadows, but we'd like stop and there'd be no one there, and we're like, what the hell is happening? And we'd be hearing like whistling or talking, and we're all like, what is happening? And we're just standing out in the streets. There's like no cars because it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. This was years ago, by the way. And I remember we all stopped. We were up near Westfield, near where the school is, my old school, North Lake State College. And there were these, we all saw these hooded figures. There was about 4 or 5 of them, walking like out from behind trees, and they were coming like towards us, and we all piss bolted. And I remember losing everyone else and just having this weird feeling like I was being lifted off the ground. It was so strange, and I remember feeling like something was around my throat, and I was freaking out. I'm like, am I being strangled right now? Am I gonna like go up the wall? Like, is that what is happening to me? Like, is this paranormal activity in real life? Like, I was like so terrified. Just really, really weird things. And the only explanation from my personal experiences, or when people explain things to me, I'm like, it's ghosts. I'm like, you can't put it down to anything else. So I just say it's ghosts. I have a lot of things, as I said earlier, that I could talk about, like when back in the old school days when I used to wag and we'd go down into the drains, and when we got caught by the principals, like when we used to light fires. Like, I did some pretty stupid shit when I was younger. I went like walking through a lake and there were eels in there and shit, like falling through a school roof, smashing school windows. I was a little shit. I want to do more of these story times because I really, really like just talking about it and then putting my experiences out there, and maybe even hearing some experiences back, because it's good to see what other people experience, because obviously you only meet and talk to or really understand a few number of people in your life unless you go out of your way, or if you're like famous or whatever and you can spend your whole day meeting people and actually hearing about other people's experiences and that. But yeah.